Welcome to Impact Masters Podcast in collaboration with Africa's Talking Retold Podcast, where every conversation sparks new insights. Join us as we delve into the stories of extraordinary individuals who are shaping our world. Movers and shakers in tech, policymakers, entrepreneurs, entertainers, and all those whose stories are worth telling. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and transformed. Welcome, and let's embark on this journey of discovery together. Impact Masters Podcast. You can check us out on all social media platforms. You can also find us across all podcast channels. Simply search for Impact Masters, then subscribe, follow, and share. www.impactmasters.io. Here's your host, Michael Kamathi.
And for me, what still really kills me today in Africa is how are we going to enable intra-Africa trade? We talk about this thing called intra-Africa trade.
But it's just a talk.
Yet the barriers are just way too prohibitive for anyone to feel comfortable. And those barriers are also exacerbated by things like your travel challenges. I'll give you an example. You want to go to Uganda from Kenya by flight. It's $900. How far is Uganda from Nairobi?
It's less than 1,000 miles.
Less than 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
How many hours by flight?
Maybe 1.5.
To Uganda?
Yeah.
Maybe an hour or an hour, 30 minutes? Yeah, 1 hour.
You'll spend 45 minutes
45.
checking in and checking out.
On air. That's what I mean.
Okay, that's less than an hour.
Less than an hour.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And how much do you pay to go to Uganda? $900, right?
Yeah.
And you want to go from Nairobi to Dubai?
It's less than that, maybe $400.
It's $400 to be exact.
Yeah.
And how far is Nairobi to Dubai? A good 8 hours, right?
Yeah.
By flight.
Yeah.
So you have to ask yourself, why are we making trade so impossible across Africa? Why do we have to we talk about this intra-Africa trade, yet it's not even enabled by our own policymakers, you know? And that is why, as an organization, we are putting together solutions or platforms that allow us to have these real conversations that really touch on how do we amplify this conversation on intra-Africa trade and how do we really become inclusive? How do we get our Gen Zs for sure to be part of that conversation, because it's going to create unnecessary ripples for the continent. The other thing when we talk about intra-Africa trade, yes, travel is one of them. When we talk about travel, why do I need a visa to move from one country in Africa to another? Why can't we just put the necessary measures in place to allow us that if I leave from here to go to South Africa, well, luckily Kenya and South Africa now has created bilateral travel policies that allow free ease of movement.
Yeah.
However, I mean, if you're moving from Nigeria to South Africa, it's not the same.
Yeah.
You get checked.
Yeah.
You have to provide every document you can think of, probably DNA to confirm that you are there doing authentic business.
Yeah.
And it has created a lot of unnecessary barriers, even for those people who genuinely want to come and do business in the continent. So I see these things. I mean, I come to Kenya. I see a lot of South African products in the market. I go to South Africa. I can't find Kenyan products. In fact, just the smallest of things that I want to have in South Africa, tea, it's nearly impossible to get.
You're going too far. Tanzania.
You go to Tanzania, can't even get it. But I live, the good thing that I've seen in the agri sector, I've seen avocados from Kenya in the market. I've seen peas from Kenya in the market. But that's not it. There is so much that we have across the continent.
Yes.
And for me, I think, as my chairman said, we need to discover our continent.
Yeah.
We need to understand our continent. You need to know where you come from. You need to know what the continent is rich in and where you can leverage, take advantage for your own benefit as an African and start driving value even for the continent,
Yes.
in the continent.
Absolutely. I cannot agree more. But of course, there are a couple of things that maybe I need to point out.
Yeah.
And these straight up. So number one, some of the reason why flight are so expensive in Africa, or so I checked out and saw, is that the taxing is done heavily on each border. And sometimes double or triple or 4 times the taxation. Because if you see your breakdown, because they normally give you the breakdown of the charges, you find what you're paying just for the flight is the same as everywhere else.
Yeah.
But the taxes that goes in there, and the platform that we use, we still do not own those platforms. Remember, those platforms are owned by other people who tax us to use those platforms.
Sure.
They charge service fee. They charge all these fees. Also, we still not use our, gasoline for these flights. It's taken out there, processed, then we buy it back.
It's taken from where?
From Africa. And then taken somewhere else. Processed.
And then brought back to us.
It's sold back to us.
No wonder.
Now, you cannot expect that to change if we do not build our own industries. And I like what Dangote did in Nigeria just, I think last year but one, by building that refinery industry, modern world refinery industry. But also the world again is changing from oil energy to most clean energy. So we need to actually innovate faster. And I like the leap that we did with the mobile money, where we just skipped the plastic money. Doesn't mean that plastic money is bad or you cannot use it, but you see that leap actually help us to bank the unbanking. That's why Kenya is like 10, 15, 20 years ahead of its time. So there are a couple of things that could be done there. But also leadership plays a key role in implementing some of this. And also it is one of the key things that actually drags us back, because as much as we get these resources, our KQ was almost collapsing just the other day. I don't know how it's doing, because so now, again, there's that mistrust. Is what communicated to us really what is happening, or we just gonna wake up one day and this KQ, as I was seeing yesterday and a few hours ago, that KQ is being sold to some other guy. Now you even
After they made 10 billion?
You're not even aware what is happening.
They're being sold?
Should you trust the social media? Should you trust the government? Where is that one source of truth? Because our leaders have presented themselves as they say one thing and then directly something else opposite happens. So I think there is also leadership accountability that is required. And here I'm not pointing fingers. I'm saying, quoting the cab driver who said, if I become a minister, the first thing I do is hit. And I know mentality of most of these people who are out here who are not in the government is to find a way. The same mentality, because you have been taught again and again and brainwashed that is your time to eat even leadership. Correct. If that changes and we create opportunities for everyone, even you're going to hit, but not that which does not belong to you. Something finally that I think we need to point out is what we teach to our children. And I don't know, this also can go to Gen Zs, because you see, for me, one thing I've appreciated about Gen Zs is that their movement is all about change. It's all about what can we do better? Can we hold ourselves accountable? We don't have a leader because even the people who, like a cab driver who could give a chance, they just want to hit. So how can we change this? Number one, let's everyone accept that we are all wrong. In the direction we are going to, there's no hope for anyone, including the one who are hitting at this particular moment. So there is a huge conversion to be had there. And I like that we're talking about this even within this spectrum, so that it becomes a conversation that if 50 years people listen to this, they're going to know this, people do not just wake up and change. Because I'm so sure that 50 years from now, things are going to be different, thanks to Gen Zs. Now, Engineer Yinka, during your nearly 3 decades at ExxonMobil, what were some of the major challenges and successes you experienced, especially in Africa?
Challenges and successes.
Yes.
Wow. I think one of my biggest success was I was part of the group that brought chicken in and pizza into Kenya. Okay, so that's a big one. Where's the drum roll?
Wow, come on. Wait.
So 1998, 1999, I was one of the people that brought pizza chicken in with the guys out of Zimbabwe into Kenya.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can take that as a credit now or not, but I'll leave that alone.
Yeah.
I'll leave that alone. So let's talk about the challenges first. Challenges will be challenges galore as a young black man in the U.S. I mean, I don't know if do you know watch American football?
Yeah, once in a while.
Do you know a guy named Terrell Owens?
No.
They call him T.O. He's a wide receiver. A few days ago, he was flying on United Airlines. And he's with his wife and 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. One of the sons asked for a drink. The guy pushing the cart did not hear him. So Terrell touched the guy with his finger and say, please, my son is looking for water. And the guy says, don't eat me. And he says, the guy in front of him said, but you didn't hit him. Why did he say that? So he was like, oh, okay, maybe the guy just having a bad day. The guy stormed to the front of the plane, came back to finish whatever he's doing. I think they were going from Denver to Salt Lake or something like that. When they landed in Salt Lake, the pilot announced and said, please, everyone, don't deplane yet. There's a security thing that they needed to do. This is 2 or 3 days ago. This is not a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so everybody on the plane thought maybe there's a medical emergency where they need to evacuate someone that passed out or whatever. And he said, as he was sitting down there, 6 guys came with, security guns and everything. And he said the guy leaned over to him and said, don't fight this arrest. You are being arrested. So they put handcuffs on him and pulled him out of the plane first. So the kids were wondering, what did dad do?
Yeah.
The wife is wondering, what did my husband do? And when they took him out, he says, why are you guys arresting me? He said, because you punched the guy on the plane. The
attendant,
host, on the host on the plane. And he says, I did what? So he explained to them what happened. They apologized and they told him to go. Now, to show that, I think United Airlines now did the research and found out that the guy actually has an issue, and this is not his first time or something. So they have made an open apology to Terrell Owens. Yeah. Now, Terrell Owens is, if you take 10 people in the U.S., his face is known. If in 2024, a racist movement like that can still happen to Terrell Owens, talk less of someone like myself 40 years ago, or a no-name from Africa. Yes, those are the kind of things you fight.
Yeah.
You give opinion in meetings because you're an African, because of the way you sound, because of what you look like. It's not taken until things go the wrong way. Eventually, you keep pushing. The system would then respect you and have to listen to you, because once you document, and they have no other choice but to listen to you.
Yeah.
Let me take it even out of oil and gas. When I was in pharmaceuticals, I remember telling my people that because in pharmaceuticals, to manufacture, they have something they call SOP, Standard Operating Procedures.
Yeah.
And for you to change an SOP of manufacturing of medicine, you have to get a clearance from the federal government.
Yeah.
And I remember the first day I got to my job, I saw that so this was in 1985 or 86.
Yeah.
And I saw that the SOP last change was in 1959.
What?
So I'm thinking, okay, as a kid that wanted to drive, design a car that was flying, that lost out in designing his car.
Yeah.
The first question is, if you have a procedure that is 30 years old, things have changed.
Yeah.
What could have changed? We had a better chilling technology has changed to chill a liquid.
Yeah.
You have impeller designs are different in mixing.
Yeah.
You have angle. I mean, a whole lot of things that's changed in 30 years.
30 years is a long time.
Why can't somebody look into improving this thing? So I sat back.
Yeah.
I was a young, 20-something-year-old guy thinking something ain't right here.
Yeah.
And I went to my people and I said, we can improve this thing. The first thing is they laugh at you. The first thing they say is, we can't understand your English. How can you that come from a country where you live on trees can tell us things ain't right? And all the other things. Long story short, I was able to convince them, after some hard times, that is possible. Eventually, the system listened, and they saved manufacturing time by 50%. Those are the things you can live back today and thank God and laugh about. And because then when they built the new building, my employees were so happy they actually wrote my name on the concrete.
Wow.
So maybe it's still there. Maybe somebody said, remove this crazy guy's name out of the way.
Yeah.
But as you look at values and things you've done that you can say you're proud of, I would say being able to, for 4 years, I was what they call the Training and Development Manager for Africa, Middle East. So every country between Dubai and Cape Town was reporting to me. And that was between 1998 and 2002, right? Yeah, for those years. And coming in and helping to develop a lot of young guys and young ladies also, and being able to go into all these countries and effect changes. Would be what I call accomplishments. And those are still my friends till tomorrow. So I've got friends all over the continent. Every country I go is home. From that.
Amazing. And it looks, if you look at it clearly, it's more of like a ripple effect and also some unmanaged change, because if you impacted most of those people across Africa, I'm sure today also they're impacting more, and that continues. And that's great. So Grace, for you, entrepreneurship is something that you have really ventured into heavily. And one of the things that you have done really well and won awards around is media platform, luxury exclusives. Please tell us, how did all these happen as a computer scientist and also as an entrepreneur?
Very good question.
Yeah.
And it's also, you have to ask yourself, why did I even make the shift from technology to media?
Yes.
Because I think that's where the piece of the puzzle meets. And I have to go back and also express my challenges, number one. As a woman, a Black woman for that matter, in Africa, driving technologies across Africa has not been an easy journey. Because it's always believed that it should be men who will always need to be at the frontier. And I know in my days of pioneering change, pioneering mobile banking, when you walk into a boardroom in the financial sector and you're trying to bring change into the market, and you walk into a boardroom and it's all men, from the CEO through to the tier, it's all just men. So they just look at you, you're a woman. And it's not an easy journey for women. So there's a lot of lonely women out there who are still trying to penetrate through the technology industry. And a lot of women with a lot of scars that are trying to get, not just across Africa, but even in Kenya today, where we find, and we hear the stories that as a woman, it's not easy for me to sit on the table. And this, for me, is a call that I think we need to be united, both men and women, and create the platforms that allow us to have negotiation, to sit on the same table, have conversations, make decisions together without feeling sidelined as a woman. That there are certain jobs that a man can do that a woman can't do. And those are the things that we need to look and see, where do we create that equal balance on such. Second thing is of course my transition into technology and media. And I believe they all go together. Is because technology has somehow become a lineage for the media. And you kind of need to know the balance of the two. And my travel into Africa is what created the appetite to understand how rich in resources we have in the continent.
Yeah.
And our richness in our products, in our art, in our fashion, in our, I think basically everything that we do in Africa. It's so thorough, and a lot of our products are handmade. But we know handmade and we understand handmade when we know it has come from outside the continent.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing is that for me, what actually sometimes saddens my heart is to see how we embrace international brands versus even our own brands in the continent that have come, that are trying to, that are doing amazing products, but we don't take the time to study. Perhaps they don't have the financial muscle of marketing and entrenching them deeply into showcasing what they are, manufacturing process looks like versus the international brands that we have.
Yeah.
And for me, that is what created my appetite for creating a platform that can aggregate and showcase luxury brands across the continent.
Very nice.
We started in South Africa.
Yeah.
And we do work closely with the media houses in South Africa, the PR organizations in South Africa, to really create a platform that connects and publishes stories of what's happening in the luxury space.
Very nice.
Looking to grow into other markets where we can profile and showcase really other brands so that we can really tell our stories.
Right.
The problem we have is that other people tell our stories.
Absolutely. And they don't tell it right most of the time.
We don't tell our stories. And we are at a point where we need to tell our stories on our storyline and be able to put our brands out there, label them, and get to be known that we have the best of products.
Yes.
I'll give you a very good story. A very well in Kenya. And the owner is a very good friend of mine. She has amazing leather products. And she's just been telling me her struggles into the Kenyan market, that products, she's doing extremely very well in the US. And she had to go and set a shop in the US, then now put up that she has a shop in the US and has a shop in Kenya, so that now we can jump up and say, wow, she's made it. Why do we have to have brands from Africa?
Validation.
Validation has to go first in the US, maybe somewhere in the streets of New York or in the high streets of London. And then only then we now start jumping up and down to say, they have done it. We don't need that. We should believe in the products of our people and use them, profile them and celebrate them from the countries.
By buying them.
Yes. I love the movement of buy Kenya, proudly South African, buy Nigerian. But guess what? We still don't. I'll give you a very good story.
Yeah.
A very well-known international brand launched the Masai products.
Yeah.
They launched shirts. They launched the Masai print. Basically, their products were all Masai print.
Yeah.
And I know very well they did the Masai shirt. And they were selling a Masai print shirt for $7,000. What did I say?
Masai printed for $7,000.
$7,000.
Yes.
And if today you find a Masai shirt on the streets of Nairobi, will you buy it?
Yes.
Okay, you will buy.
Yes.
Okay, but at how much?
Maybe 1,000 bob.
1,000 bob.
Yeah.
Okay, now you have another international brand selling a Masai printed shirt. Masai, sleeping gown for $7,000.
Yeah.
And within 2 months, they were out of stock, sold out. Now, a lot of us will not buy that Masai print because it's local, it's done here. So we want when it comes from outside and somebody emphasizes, or because it has that international endorsement, that's when we want to celebrate it.
So you mean it was bought by Africans and the stock was out?
It was being sold in African stores in South Africa and in other markets.
And it was bought by Africans?
And it was bought by Africans. Stock, within 2 months, it was sold out. The Masai print.
One shirt for $7,000.
Yes. but we won't want to buy. We will buy a Masai shirt for 1,000 shillings, right?
I've never bought anything for $7,000 in and outside Africa. Let me be honest.
So it just goes to tell you.
Yes.
So it just gets to tell you
Yes.
that the appetite for our products out there.
Yeah.
In addition to that, most of the international patterns that we have seen that are being used, they originated from Africa.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
If you look at the kikoi, Kenya lost the rights for kikoi. You know that?
Who owns it?
Japan.
How can we get it back?
I don't know. Yeah, but we lost the rights for kikoi. Wow. We can't even produce the kikoi anymore because somebody else patented it and we lost the rights.
Yeah.
And these are the sensitization that we need to do. In fact, before we lose the Maasai print, we need to get that because it's part of our culture. It's part of our heritage.
Yeah.
You know, but somebody else sees the value and we don't. Our teas, you know, is something else that if we're not careful, somebody else will repackage it, take it out of the continent or out of the country, and we start losing the value of it. Coffee, there you go. Our farms, guess now they're even somebody else is starting to get our farms on them. We are starting to lease our farms to international farmers. What happened to those days when our farmers used to take coffee into one particular place and all of them sell their coffee together and then they ground it, then they take it international. Anyway, markets do grow. These are called international and bilateral trade agreements which have come to place, I believe.
Yeah. But I have a different story about coffee because I come from the background of coffee. The process you just described is how our forefathers were ripped off by being told that if you create the society, you have more voice, you know, there's more to take out there. And then what actually happened is auction. Like, you know, you do all the work, but your coffee is auctioned before even it's exported, which means auctioning here that it's going to be bought cheap. And then it's going to be sold. You know, Starbucks is making billions and billions of dollars. And all they sell and what they're known for is coffee. Most of that actually comes from Uganda and Kenya and Ethiopia, part of it.
Why don't we own the final value chain?
Thank you.
Because you're told you cannot. You cannot even process your coffee. Actually, as of today, it's illegal to share the seed. And I'm not talking about anybody's experience. I lived in Kiambu. It was illegal to buy milk from my neighbor. I could go to jail for that. That's how serious it is. And that's why, again, Gen Zs have seen these
movies. Why is it illegal?
It's by law. Someone just passed the law. They passed it and it's...
They?
Yes.
Who are they?
Our leaders.
These are the things.
Who we elected. Hoping that they understand all the pain. Some of them actually maybe were people we could, you know, hang out and discuss some of these issues with. But when they become MPs, MCAs, governors, president, vice president, ministers, I don't know what happened. I don't know if they get bribed or they are too compromised. I'm not sure what exactly happens, but everything changes.
These are policies which we need to relook. Again, these are those what was the word that was used? Those policies which were made many years ago, which today nobody is looking into. Despite the changes that are happening globally, we are still bound by those old policies. You know, and we need to really go back into the drawing board and say, a lot has evolved. A lot has changed globally. Yeah. How do we still continue to be governed by policies of then versus what is happening today? We need to own that last mile.
Yeah. But Madam Grace, let's get in deeper bit about this.
Yeah.
So how old is Hood? Is it 10 years, 15 years? How old is this? Because some of the laws I'm talking about is during Uhuru's tenure. Which is not that old,
it's
if
not,
you ask me.
It's not too old, but as you say, those were some of the policies which we have grown up with.
Yes.
Which means nobody's still looking at them to see.
Yeah.
And probably what we need to say is how often do we need to review?
Yeah.
As the world is evolving, how often do we need to review some of these things that are driving us or taking us back? Is it every 10 years after, as we have our election terms? Then do we say every 10 years we review policies? Are they still valid or not valid?